Right, it is 9:49 a.m. and I had two trades, one with PUGE here and another one with ABML. Let's go over PUGE first, and this was the same setup as yesterday, a higher day breakout, and this one also had this level, this key level of 40 to break. If you look at a daily chart, the top of this one was 40, so the idea was that maybe it was going to break this 38 range right here and then make a run towards 40. Best case scenario, it breaks that and it continues. And I was long at 9:33 a.m. 37. So that was right here. I was in at 37. Why? Because it really looks like it was starting to uptrend. There were a lot of people at the bid starting to jump up and support it. The bottom here was like this 36 level, and then it was this level right here. It was a bit higher, and then it looks like the thing had momentum for a move towards the upside. And I had two sells. I try to be a little more patient with this. Maybe I could have been more patient with it, but overall, I'm okay with this setup. In terms of selling, I just wish that I had more shares. I think I should have traded 50,000 shares to have a proper $10 risk level. I'm in at 37. Worst case scenario, it breaks 36 and I'm out at 35. Let's just see what my dollar risk level was. Right, and then I was in at 36, actually 37. So it was a $92 position. Worst case scenario, it breaks 36 and I'm out at 35. Yeah, I traded like a $5 risk level. I should have had 50,000 shares, so whatever I made from this, I should have made twice as much. But I did have my sales, which again weren't that bad. I sold at 935, and that was 10,000 shares at 40. I'm gonna make sure it was 40 and not 39 and a half, but at 39, not 39, at 935, I did sell. In theory, right here, 10,000 shares, because I just felt like maybe it won't break the level at 40. And, maybe it just had a spike towards the upside, but it, tops out at the previous day high level and it rejects it. So I did sell some just in case that it doesn't work. I'll be more comfortable with it. And then I sold the rest of the shares the next minute at the same price level in theory. I'm going to see and make sure that's correct. It did break past 40. It did get as high as 42, so I could have made a little more there, but I think the biggest thing I should have done differently here is that I should have had twice the amount of shares. And I did trade ABML. This one actually worked. Honestly, I didn't feel comfortable with this one. It was down about 12% on the day. I drew a trend line and then I saw it break through the trend line. It did reverse after the trend line broke and I was in at 9:39, almost 9:40 at 141. So right here I was in at 9:39 a.m. 141. Again, it broke past the trend line. I was in it, but I did not feel comfortable with this one because one, it's a higher priced OTC. They don't tend to work as well. This one is working well, but it just overall higher priced OTCs don't work as well as lower priced ones with morning panic bounce plays. This is a morning panic bounce play. It dropped from 158 as low as the 138 level. And on top of that, VWAP to me just seemed super close. Super close to where my entry was. So I just felt like maybe it'll get to VWAP best case scenario at 144. Maybe it'll break past it because it's so close to it, sure. But when VWAP is so close to the price level, I just feel like it might not work that often. It might just uptrend a little, not even get to VWAP and then break under and continue the downtrend. But I did give it a chance and a very small chance, and maybe not as much of a chance as I should have given it, but I did sell at 142 and a half. What was it, next minute? Yeah, the next minute. Right here, it did uptrend a little, but I just felt uneasy with it. And why did I get in the first place? Well, even with all those things into consideration, I like how there was a 10,000 share bidder that showed up at 140, I believe. And then it looks like the level 2 was in favor for it to uptrend. So that's why I considered it, and I'm glad it worked. I mean, it went as high as 150, so there was obviously, some move towards the upside. And I didn't think, yeah, I don't think I didn't trade the right amount of shares, a $10 risk level here. I just didn't feel comfortable trading something like that. But maybe I'll consider this. This could be like a higher low, maybe a double bottom, or it downtrends more. It makes a lower low. Same with perhaps PUGE. I did miss yesterday's trade with PUGE when it dipped under VWAP, but this isn't looking that nice right now. I'll make an update later, but that's about it. I did have an interest with KG, very similar to PUGE. If it was going to break the day high in the morning, it didn't do it here. I'll make an update later. Okay, it is 10:18 a.m. and I want to make an update. There was a chance I could have been in at 138 here with AMBL, and it is trying to work. I guess let's throw out trend line to see, if maybe I would still be holding it if I was in the setup. And yep, it looks like I would still be holding it, but if it goes to 140, I'd probably be cutting the trade. And this is like a morning panic bounce play double bottom. It even had a dip under VWAP. It wasn't that nice here, and it did uptrend to this level just briefly, but this was a double bottom. Even though it kind of broke the day low just a little bit, I would still count it as a double bottom just because it was a wick. It wasn't really like a big candle that broke the day low compared to this one right here. So I mean, this thing can continue the uptrend. It can try to get to VWAP, which would be ideal, and then it can just try to come back and look like nothing ever happened, or maybe, make a shoulder of a head and shoulder head, and maybe this is like the dip, and then it makes a shoulder somewhere. So there could be potential for this thing to continue to make a move towards the upside. I don't like missing this one too much. RSH looks a bit interesting. I wish it had more volume, but if it does like some curving action and maybe breaks a day high, I'll be interested in it. As for LWLG, I wish it traded nicer. If it wasn't so sketchy the way it traded, I would probably be long this setup and I would have a lot more money in it. Same with ABML. If it was a lower priced OTC, I've seen this pattern a lot of times. I would probably be trading it, if not, more aggressively with more size as well. This one is just sketchy, but I had that morning panic bounce play. It did turn around eventually. This was kind of hard to draw a trend line, and I did it off of these three candles right here that seemed to have followed it. And when it did break it, it did turn around. I wasn't here for this. I was already, I think, interested in it when it was much later in a pattern like here. It did do a tiny drop. I thought, okay, if it comes back like close to the day low, I might be interested in that. It only did a little dip, and it is uptrending. It is trying to get to VWAP, which is the goal, and maybe it can get above it. But I pretty much missed this one, and I don't mind it because it's a higher price stock. It's a listed stock. It used to be an OTC, and yeah, it's just a bit sketchy, but it is in theory doing something. As for AMC, I did have in mind an idea that this thing could do a reversal and maybe something to go long. It is reversing. I mean, here's a low, then a higher low, right? If it does an inverse head and shoulders, I'll be interested in it. As of where it is right now, I'm not too interested. I would be cutting the trade if I was long ABML, and I would have made maybe $3. That's about it for right now. Nothing really too ideal. Some patterns actually are nice, like this one, but it's just not at the right price. Alright, it is 9:20 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I am up on the day $8.37, and that was 2 trades, not 5 trades like yesterday. It wasn't over trading, and that was with PUGE. It's actually been a while since I traded these things. I stopped looking, and I actually don't really remember much of what I did at this point because I've been just so busy with other things. And wow, I had a pretty massive sell-off. I remember this. I did miss this. I hesitated this, and I do regret missing it. It went from the 42 level to the 48, which was a high day breakout right here, around that 10 o'clock level. It immediately sold off, but there was plenty of chance for me to sell on an uptrend there, and I think it followed a trend line too before it had the sell off. I'm pretty sure that's the case with that, and yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about this. At the end of the day, it didn't even bounce. When the stock has a big drop at the end of the day, it's not too likely going to bounce because it might not have enough of time, and then people are thinking it might not have enough of time. This would have been better if it was saved for the next day in the morning so I could trade that for a bounce, but it had a sell off for sure. And yeah, that's a pretty red sell off. Unfortunately, this didn't happen in the morning when it could probably bounce back and maybe offer an opportunity. As for this one, it never did break the day high or do anything like that. It did play off of VWAP, but the volume dried up, so I don't mind missing this. And as for LWLG, I did have an interest with this, but the way it got there was kind of ugly. I don't think there was really another point that I would have considered trading it, even if it trades off of VWAP the way it does. I probably wouldn't have traded it anymore. Nothing really with AMC, although I did see something like this, a potential inverse head and shoulders, but it wasn't that nice. I've, been gradually staying away from listed stocks like that, and this not be removed. It's like a crazy trend line right here. Actually, no, this might just be a misprint. Nothing really with ABML, although I'm very happy to see that it did work out. I just didn't really trade it. I didn't like it because of the price action and everything, but this one played out. That's really about it. Just two trades with PUGE, ABML, and yeah, I'm gonna call it off right here. It's not that nice anymore, but PUGE could have been a nice morning panic bounce play tomorrow. You didn't have to sell off today. That kind of sucks, but that's fine.